Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Chaz Addis. I'm your city forester and the current president of the Employees Association. Let me start off by thanking the people who helped us put this thing together. Our Employees Association Executive Board, which includes Bud Powell, our president-elect, Josh Yost, our secretary, Maureen Erickson, our secretary-elect, and Cindy Rowe, our past president. I'd also like to thank Mayor Curtis and the mayor's office staff for co-sponsoring and facilitating this event. So we appreciate that. Special thanks to mayoral candidates Michelle Kafusi and Sherry Hall Everett for joining us today, as well as council candidates Dave Sewell and Wesley Marriott. Without them, we wouldn't have much of a debate, so thank you very much for coming. Give you guys a round of applause. So before we begin, I would like to lay out kind of the ground rules for the event. First, we're going to give the mayoral candidates about 2 minutes to introduce themselves. After introductions, we will begin asking the questions we gathered from the employees. We're going to draw the questions at random from a hat and give each candidate about 3 minutes to answer the questions. In the interest of time, we'll be keeping a clock and giving warnings as time is up. So, with that being said, if there's any issue or topic that you'd like one of the candidates to elaborate on, or if your question didn't get answered, the candidates have agreed to stay a few minutes after to answer questions and meet some of you in person. So, and then following the mayoral Q&A, we will give the council candidates a couple minutes to introduce themselves as well. So without further ado, we'll have the mayoral candidates introduce themselves. So in no particular order, Sherry Hall Everett, can you get us started? Yes, please.
Is this on? Is this on? Can you hear me? Great. Well, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here today. And we've worked pretty hard together over the years. And it's fun to see your familiar faces on some of the initiatives that we've done in the city. I appreciate the work that you do. I'm excited to be able to run for mayor. And I'm excited to be able to carry forward the good work that you've been doing, to be a city that has operated so efficiently, and to be a good value for our taxpayers. But more than that, the culture that you've created here in this city is pretty spectacular. And as I see you working together and trying to do the things that serve this community, I am grateful for the chance to be a part of that and to help us to continue on as a community. We have some things that we get to work on together, some things that we're going to solve together, some things that we're going to help to take this community forward on, and I look forward to working hand in hand with you. Thank you for taking the time today to come, and with no further ado, I'll turn the time over to Michelle.
There's seats up in the front if you want to squeeze in up here, because that's always so much fun to walk up to the front, right? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Michelle Kafusi. I was born and raised in Provo. I come from a family of 7 siblings and a single mom. I attended Dixon and Provo High and graduated. I'm married. I've been married for 29 short years, and I have 5 kids that are fantastic and are just a delight. I currently serve on the Board of Education. Today's school board day, this Tuesday, swamped, so I was so grateful that I was able to squeeze in because I really wanted to come and look in your eyes and look at your faces and And thank you, really thank you for all the work you've done. Working in city government is sometimes a thankless job. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you, and I know that you are constantly trying to do what's best for the citizens in the city of Provo, and I really do appreciate it. It's nice to see some familiar faces. When I decided to run for mayor, my first line item was to meet with every department head in the city. And so I see many of you here, and thank you for giving me those couple hours one-on-one and expressing to me your concerns and what your expectation is in a mayor. Glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to this. Thanks.
All right, question 1. As an employer, Provo has a good track record of awarding annual merit increases to its employees. It has, however, been several years since employees have received a cost of living adjustment. What are your thoughts about merit increases and COLAs? Does one preclude the other? Would the city, under your tenure, award one, both, or neither? And we'll start with Ms. Kafusi.
I love COLAs. In the Board of Education, we have to pay our employees as well. In fact, this year we decided we were going to pay them more than just their COLA, their cost of living, and we have never missed. We are accurate, and I plan to stay on top of that. You deserve it. Cost of living goes up. You need to be compensated. Something we did this year that I plan to implement when I'm your mayor is we're doing, I don't want to say major, but a pretty significant Christmas bonus for every employee in the school district this year. And we're looking forward, and they're very excited about that. But I am a huge advocate for cost of living. It shouldn't even, it's a no-brainer. It should just be added in every year, because you're raising the cost to live. I'm having to raise cost to live. I believe in the COLA and Diet Coke and Diet Coca-Cola.
Kind of a Coke Zero Diet Dr. Pepper fan, but thank you. You've done a lot for less for a really long time. We cut the budget by $5 million when we went through the economic slump, and it was painful. And we're doing more as a city than we've ever done before. But not having a COLA is not sustainable. You're being asked to work for less every year. So how do we do that? That's the question. We have to have enough revenue into the city. And my commitment is to help us to grow our revenues and to put in a program and a policy and work with our council, because they will ultimately approve this cost of living adjustment that is sustainable for you. We need to attract and retain good employees, and being able to depend on being able to have that cost of living every year is critical to you being able to live in your budget. And so we do need to look at that, and I plan on working with the council and with our city to be able to put that in place so that you can depend on it. I don't like that we haven't been able to do that for you.
Thank you. Question 2, and this will go first to Ms. Hall Everett, and then we will switch back and forth as we continue. As employees, we feel that we often have good ideas for changes that would benefit both the city and us as employees. How do you plan on keeping an open dialogue with us, and will you be open to our ideas? As examples, 2 ideas that were submitted as part of this forum were 1, allowing employees' sick and vacation time to be combined in one accessible bank to be used at the discretion of the employee, and 2, providing discounted on-site childcare for employees' children.
First of all, I'm not really sure what the process has been in the past for being able to submit those kinds of suggestions, but I think those kinds of suggestions make an organization better, and it fosters innovation within the culture. A lot of times we get a bad rap as government employees that we're not as innovative as we should, but that's really not the culture of Provo. And so my hope is that we will come up with a way that we can continue to innovate within our departments and put things in that will make us better, that will help us to have a stronger culture of satisfaction in our jobs, and maybe that innovation even leads to greater changes We have seen that in the last 8 years, where these suggestions of innovation have changed, and not only changed for the employees, but also changed for our citizens. And so I think that we can do that really well. I hope that we can foster that.
Same question, right? Okay, great. So let me just tell you, I do not have all the answers. I don't. I don't have all the answers. I plan to depend on you to collaborate with me and give me your experiences, tell me your stories, and help me so that we can make this city amazing and make changes. Times are changing. We need to look at childcare. We need to look into these different aspects of what will make our city stronger and better. And I will depend on you. I will come to you and say, educate me, help me. You've been down in the trenches. I want to hear what you have to say. And take that information and work together with you and be able to listen. And I will appreciate your forward thinking. It's fantastic when you have input and say so. It makes you feel more invested, and that's what we want. I want all of you to feel valued and invested.
Next question. In the same vein, do you have any ideas or plans for improving communication among departments and employees?
Well, there are always software ideas, and there's always the conversation in the hall, and there's always finding out how your day's going, and there's always email. But I'll be looking to you and to your department heads and to your departments to feel like you can approach me. Now, we have to work as an organization, and I want us to work with a great culture in this city. But that culture also has to be one of respect too, for the organizations that we work in and for those that supervise. But I also want us to feel like, you know, we can be friends. We can work together. We can talk. We can deal with the issues or things that may come up. And so, you know, I hope that we can, you know, maybe have lunch and invite kind of a brown bag where we can just kind of talk about ideas and innovation and communication. It's up to us to exercise that opportunity to communicate with each other. And my record's always been approach me and let's visit.
That tends to be one of my strongholds, is approachability. I love to talk. I love to visit. Those of you that I've worked on with the police department, on the Citizens Advisory Board, and various other positions in the city, you all know that it's good to visit and good to check in on each other. Two things that really hit home to me are trust and loyalty. Trust and loyalty is what will make this city go. We have to trust each other. You have to trust me, and I have to trust you, and we have to be loyal. We have to lift each other up. And then we have to talk about fun. We have to have some fun in this city. This job is a lot of work. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stress. And my motto has always been, in all my other positions, work hard, play hard. And I plan to bring some fun into our job so we can enjoy each other and let down a little bit and get to know each other on a personal level, because that's where the real relationships begin.
Next question, first to Ms. Kafusi. Development of the East Bay Golf Course could affect employees in several ways. For example, it could cause employee layoffs. Also, many employees and retired employees are allowed discounted or free passes for golfing. What are your feelings about developing the golf course land?
I love East Bay Golf Course. It is fantastic. My kids golf there. We're not members of a country club. We don't have a lot of money to go to the expensive courses. East Bay is where we go. I was down there the other day and had them walk me around and talk to me about some of their concerns and issues. And just as I was there, In comes the Provo High girls golf team. In comes the Provo High boys golf team. It was fantastic. It is a community hub. It really is, and it's affordable. That's huge. Golf tends to be for the rich and the elite, but that golf course makes it so it's accessible to all of us, and I really value that and appreciate that. As far as development goes, that's something we would have to look into, because I'm a huge proponent for East Bay Golf Course.
I want to look at the bigger picture here. The bigger picture is, in order to fund COLAs, in order to fund fire stations, in order to fund buildings, in order to fund facilities replacement and tools for our police officers and things like that, we need economic development, because my only other option is to go back and tax our residents who already carry an inordinate burden in our city. That doesn't mean I hate golf. I actually love golf. You know, it's that one putt uphill 18 feet. When you sink it, you're hooked for life. But we have an opportunity. I think this can be an and discussion. We can turn a landfill that has been producing zero revenue, even though it's not costing us anymore because of the efficiency of how it's been run. But why not look for a different facility that now has the opportunity to return on investment, like our recreation center has done, and put in a better facility that still meets all the criteria and need of our community. But now we put in something in that golf course that will generate billions of dollars in jobs, revenue, and business for this community and help sustain this budget. So I don't think it's an either or discussion. I think it's an and discussion.
Thank you. Next question, first to Ms. Hall Everett. As you know, most departments within the city work 4 days a week, 10 hours each day. Recognizing that as CEO, you would have control over our work schedule, what are your thoughts about 410s? Would you continue the practice, or would you change it?
I'm going for 412s. We got to be more efficient. Just kidding. I like you too much. No, I think I was on the council when we adopted the 410s, and we did it because there were some efficiencies with that. I think that there are a lot of our departments that it serves really, really well. I have had some questions from members of the community about things like community development and getting inspections and some of those things done that has been problematic. And so I think for the most part it's been efficient. And I think when you work really hard and you're kind of in the zone, it really helps to keep in the zone during that time. I also think that our employees need that kind of little bit of a downtime, but we still need to provide the right service level to our community and to meet the current needs. So we'll be looking at that. I'll be looking at our department heads for their recommendation, advice, what we can do to serve our customers, which are our citizens, better. And then, and where we don't need to have to go to a 5-day work week, I want to stay at that 410 because I think it helps our morale, especially when you haven't gotten a COLA for forever.
So I think we learned about 4 days a week. I was so jealous. I've never worked a 410, but it seems like it's fantastic. And more than anything, since I don't have the experience of working a 410, I would want to hear from you. What do you want? What do you like? What are the pros? What are the cons? And we'll go with what you want. It's your job. If you're willing to go 4 days and give it all you got, I'm great with that. Now, as mayor, I know, because being on the Board of Education, it's the same idea. Your hours never end. It's a lifestyle. And I know that. So mayors don't apply to the 410, and I get that. That's fantastic. It's a lifestyle, and I'm fine with that. But I do want to hear what you want, what you think's worked, what you think we could do to improve. I don't know if we would ever consider 3 10s, but 4 10s, I would like to hear about, but I'd like to hear from you. You who have lived it, you who are working it. That's where I want to get my information from.
This is a longer question. Provo is a $218 million corporation with over a dozen business units and more than 650 employees. As you know, the mayor is Provo's CEO. Please share with us why you feel you are qualified to lead such an organization, and perhaps list a few things you would like to focus on during your tenure as mayor. As a fun side of this question, everyone knows Mayor Curtis for his socks. What will you be known for?
I don't think I'll be the socks mayor, sorry. Many of you, I feel like I haven't told my story as well as I could have being on the Board of Education, except for those who I work directly with in the city. We are a $120 million budget with assets for over $300 million. When I was board president, we had to pass that bond to build the 5 schools. I have to sign off on paychecks and on budget. We have to be fiscally conservative, but yet take care of our own. Honestly, I'm still kind of hung up on the idea that you guys haven't received your COLA. I'm still hung up on that. So I have been dealing with this kind of budget and having this responsibility for 7 years. Now, other budgets, other boards I sit on, not even close. School board, believe it or not, our budget is bigger. And we manage more people, our teachers, our staff, our in-service. I mean, we have a lot. And because of all that, it's really prepared me for this position. And I'm ready to take it on. I feel great about it.
Thank you. 4 years on the Provo Municipal Council under 2 different mayors, 2 very different budget functions, and looking through that, thank goodness there's some continuity here that's been through all of those experiences that can guide that. But what you may also not know about me is that I have been serving on the Board of Trustees at UTA. I went there to watch out for Provo. I went there to watch out for Utah County, and I went there to reform and help the agency be better. They've completed 3 years of reforms, and part of that was to be more transparent about their budget. UTA's budget is $375 million a year and $2 billion worth of assets. We look at all of those budget items. This year we refinanced that budget, saving our taxpayers $70 million. We bought buses early, saving $6 million. You heard about the $11 million over because of real estate costs and the delay of the lawsuit and some of the other things. We saved $5 million. It would have been $17 million had we not acted when we did. I'll be very cost conscious, and I will work with our department heads who are very capable of managing the budget. We have to balance the budget by law, but we also need to look at how important growing our revenues in this city are in order to balance that equation out for our taxpayers and to be able to do the things that we need to do. So small budgets to large. I'm also a business owner. I know how to make payroll. That is a big advantage for me. I started with a mom with a Mac and in my front room. So I've been a home-based business, and now we have a film studio and a media-centric business where we are communicating and giving and running that as well. So I just think that's a lot of great experience.
Next, would you consider yourself supportive of law enforcement? What goals or plans do you have for working with the police department during your tenure as mayor?
I think if you've gone to the Citizens Academy and you volunteered to be tased, you're pretty supportive of law enforcement. But beyond that, I've also been on several ride-alongs with our officers. And I've spent a lot of time talking with our officers about the difficulty of their job. Absolutely, I'm supportive of law enforcement. And I'm supportive of our law enforcement's family. They deal with very tough things. And I am grateful for their service to this community. That being said, we have got to get them a facility. We've got to get our public works, our public safety facility built in this city, and it needs to be built with an eye to the future. We have needs. Our domestic unit has needs. We need interview rooms. We need training rooms. We need to not have people stuffed in a closet and call it an office. And boy, they've done a lot with very little for a very long time. But where it really matters is in the morale of our police force. And I am absolutely supportive of our police force. I'm also supportive of our fire department. And I'm supportive of the rest of our employees because we all have to work together to create the kind of culture and experience in this city that matters to our citizens and provides us with that safety.
I've had the privilege of being asked to sit on the hiring committees for former chiefs of police. Sometimes we vet them and sometimes we don't get everything out that we want, but it has been an honor. I was asked to be one of the initial citizens on what they formed called the Citizens Advisory Board. I've been on it from day one. The whole reason for that board was because of the temperature of the police and things like that, we're there to heal. We're there to communicate to this community about what the great things the police are doing. And I have loved my time on the Citizens Advisory Board. It's been fantastic. I've learned a lot. I'm a huge advocate for first responders. I really looked into this building. When we build a building similar to this, we build them for 50 years, correct? This building isn't quite 50 years, but that doesn't mean our first responders aren't breaking out of their office. When we built this office and facility, we were half the police department as we are now. When you go into a city, if you drive in and you see the mayor's office is the nicest office in the city, there's something wrong with that government. But with that said, can't we please somehow peel off our first responders and give them the building, the facilities, the things they need so that when the disaster or what comes our way comes, they will be able to respond. The last thing we need is this building to go down with our first responders not be able to get out there to help the citizens of Provo. There's a way we can meet the needs, and I can advocate for the police department. The interesting thing about local government here in Provo specifically is the mayor doesn't have all the say-so on that. We have this great thing called a city council where you have to work together. I can't move forward without them, they can't move forward without me. So in order to even do a new police station and fire department, it would have to be vetted through the city council as well. And I will be there to advocate for you and fight hard to get you what you need to meet your needs.
Thank you. On the budget, where would you rate the Provo City organization on the scale between well-run and fiscally sound to poorly run and wasteful? Where do you envision making changes? As a related question, if there was a significant budget shortfall during your tenure, what approach would you take to solve the gap?
Something that the City Council has been looking into for, I believe it's been over a year, is budgeting for outcomes, which is fantastic. They're getting ahead of the curve, which I fully support. We have to be prepared and budget for outcomes. That's the goal, and I appreciate attending their meetings and learning about this process. Something that has worked in other cities with some of my friends that are mayors, they've done what's called a 3% stress budget. I know that sounds stressful, right? It's not. It's not going to impact anyone. What it is every year we just say, look at your budget, and if there was 3% of something that you could do without, let's put that in your report. We won't touch it, but just so we know, if it gets ugly, we have somewhere to go. A lot of communities do that. They've been doing it for years. They never have to utilize it, but it just gets us thinking when we put our budgets in place, what are the maybe possible extras we could skim off the top if we ever had to. Budgets are great. They hold us accountable, and being in a political office, we have to be accountable to our citizens' money. Every dollar counts. And we have to be able to tell our community where those dollars are going.
Well, the good news is I've already been through that cycle. In 2000, was it 10? I think it was 2010 when we hit the economic slump and we came up short and we cut the budget by $5 million without dipping into our rainy day fund. We also set the percentage of our rainy day fund at one of the highest percentages that is allowed for a municipality. And so we are on some fairly secure ground, but we have some things we need to do. And so that, we're going to work through that. We may have another economic slump, but right now, Provo's growing. There is not a housing bubble. There's a housing area is growing. It's going to be economically vital for us to be able to be a regional partner in that, and that will help us stabilize our budget so that we can make careful decisions. Having been a council member, I understand some of the things that the council needs in order to be able to make the decisions that they do when they provide oversight and direction. Budgeting for outcomes is kind of a new phrase. I'm still a little perplexed by it because I kind of thought that's what we've been doing, is we've done a CIP and we've lined up prioritization of our projects and the things that we're doing. We are working for budgeting for outcomes. We're also, in conjunction with our Vision 2030 program, we're putting those kinds of things in outcomes that we're putting our money towards. So I hope that we can find the language or the term or the thing that helps us work more effectively together, brings that efficiency in, and helps us to be able to have the kind of community and experience that we want here.
As mayor, do you have plans on how you would make Provo City's relationship with Utah County more productive and friendly? Relatedly, what are your thoughts on the Peaks Ice Arena situation and how would you handle it moving forward?
I think the best thing that's happened at the Peaks Ice Arena was Provo. We've been able to take that deficit down to where our rec department's second to none in this nation. And to be able to operationally take that deficit down has been remarkable for us. I have a great relationship with most of our county commissioners. I've sat with them and talked about very difficult matters. BRT, I remember when they were running, when Nathan Ivey was running for county commissioner and they had some misinformation about BRT, I invited him to come to my office. I invited all the ones that were running to come to my office, and we sat down for 4 hours and worked through all the questions that they had about this project with the experts. We brought them together. My core belief, and this doesn't just extend to the county commissioners, it extends to the public, it extends to employees, extends to everyone. If you help people to have access to information and you trust them to be able to look at that information and understand it, and you come with a spirit of trust, you end up making the best decisions. It may not be my decision, it may not be their decision, it may actually be that wonderful third alternative. And so I have no qualms about working with our county commissioners to be able to get the work done that needs to be done in this community. I think we can resolve all these issues.
So you guys aren't dumb. You know what's been going on between the city and the county commissioners, correct? It's been intense. When it started bubbling up a while ago, I went and met with each county commissioner one-on-one and said, okay, give me your side of the story. I want to hear your side of the story. And after they spoke for one of them almost 2 hours on his side of the story, the other stayed under an hour, I said, now, if you were the mayor of Provo, how would you solve it? And again, they spoke and gave me their feedback. I took that information and came and met with Wayne and Mayor Curtis and said, how can we solve this? Give me your side of the story. They pulled out everything. They showed me the parking spots. We discussed it. It was fantastic. Great discussion. I was able to take that information, put it together with what I'd learned and listened from the county commissioners, and start to think of a process that will solve this. There's no need for this lawsuit baloney. It's ridiculous. We have to work together. We have to come together. A set of fresh eyes, a new face in the mayor's seat, all these things are good because you come at it with a new vision and a new view. And the county commissioners will see that as well, and they'll be open and willing to work as well. So I'm anxious to dive into that one and work. And the Peaks Arena is fantastic. My kids play indoor soccer, and we have neighbors that play hockey over there. It's fantastic. We've got to keep that going.
Final question.
I keep forgetting.
As a newly elected mayor, how would you approach vetting your existing staff?
Oh, you guys. Vetting the existing staff, that's like the, oh no, here she comes with what's her vetting process going to be? Honestly, my vetting process is going to be to go face to face, look you in the eye, and listen. My first question to you will be, what is your expectation in your next mayor? I want to know. I want to hear. Mayor Curtis was fantastic. He did fantastic things. But you can always learn, and I want to learn. I want to hear what your thoughts are. I'm in no rush to come in and do like a former mayor up north did and fire everybody at large and just make a mess. Are you kidding? My biggest fear at that point would be, please don't leave. I'm new to this job. I need your experience and I need your wisdom. And that'll be the attitude that I'll have when it comes to the vetting process.
Vetting, wow, that's quite the word. I already know so many of you. We have an organizational chart in our city. And so my first place I'm going to start is I'm going to sit down with Wayne Parker. And I'm going to talk with Wayne Parker. And then I'm going to sit down with each of our department heads and I'm going to talk with them. And then I'd like to sit down with each department and talk about the goals and efforts of each of those departments, led by the leaders of those departments and working with you. There's a reason for an organization, and that is there are efficiencies within the organization. But there's also a culture in the organization, and we can foster that collaboration, that respect, and that goodness in our culture while still respecting the hierarchy of the organization that allows us to get things done. That was one of the things that I learned from my experience at UTA. When Jerry Benson was put in as our CEO at UTA, we had to beg him. We interviewed 450 people. And none of them had the stuff that Jerry Benson did. Jerry looked at the organization and he began to put it into a way that it could be more efficient. So things like corruption could not happen up there. So things like better collaboration and alignment with the goals could happen there. We'll see. I don't know enough about how your departments are working and how things are working within those departments and within the department heads. But you know what? Our department heads know and our employees know. And we'll begin to work and find ways that we can improve and preserve the things that we're doing well. And I'm the new kid on the block in the administration, but I'm not the new kid on the block in the city. I've worked so closely with so many of you. And I know where your hearts are in serving this city. So I'm really actually looking forward to that collaborative and that directional experience and helping us to continue to improve.
All right, that was great. Thank you, Michelle Kafusi and Sherry Hall Everett. Let's give them a round of applause for being here, please. Can we please invite the council candidates up to introduce themselves? You're here. Dave Sewell, Dave Harding, and Mr. Merritt, please. Thank you for making it, gentlemen. Yeah, Wesley Merritt. Yeah, can you start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'll hold this.
Thank you.
How much time
Make sure he gets the other one.
Like 30 minutes or so, or
He needs both. Yes.
what do you want? Just like a 1 minute intro, or are we gonna talk more after?
You got about 2 minutes. If you can wear this as well, so that the channel 7. One of these.
And here. Both places. Okay, sorry guys. Hi, I'm Wes Marriott. I don't have the advantage of these two guys. You guys probably don't know a whole lot about me. Maybe looked into some of my stuff, but a couple of years ago, I loved the culture. I was in the middle of my management consulting job, and I was living in Provo, but traveling every week. But I loved the culture and the feel of this city. And I went and met with John Curtis, and I was like, hey, like, how can I get involved? How can I help? And he's like, you should run for office. And I was like, wow, okay. I don't know about that, but maybe. And it's 2 years away, so it's fine. But here I am, and running. And the reason I wanted to talk to John is because I love the branding. And it's no secret that he's done a really good job communicating, getting people engaged. But it's also maybe more of a secret that this is the secret sauce, you guys. John Curtis has done such a good job with that, but all of you have done such a good job in your own sphere, and you don't necessarily get the credit, you know. Maybe people know Wayne, you know, but do we hear about how Amanda's killing it in the, you know, clerk's office, or Liz with her, you know, Liz is now looking at me like a shaking her whatever. But all of you have done incredible jobs, and I want to keep that atmosphere in Provo. Whether it's through the economic development, whether it's through how we deal with infrastructure, how we deal with the real problems in Provo, I need your help to help me understand and also push forward the good things that we want to do in Provo. I don't know you as well, but I love to talk to people. I love to meet people and to ask questions and to learn about what you're doing in the city, because I think this is the group that gets things done. And that's why Provo is so great right now. I ask for your vote, but also come and talk to me if you have questions. Again, my name is Wes Marriott, and thanks.
It's heavy, so you can fold that.
I haven't actually used one of these before, so. Is that good as far as placement? Okay. All right, my name's Dave Sewell. I'm running for a second term on the City Council. And I'd like to take a moment to answer one of the questions that went to the mayoral candidates. And that was, how would you rank Provo as far as being a well-run city? I've felt for some time that Provo is one of the best run, most well-run cities in the country. And apparently Wallet Hub agreed with that, because I think they ranked us number 2 as far as best run cities in the country. And that's a real credit to you as employees of the city. It's a credit to Wayne, who's been our CAO for I'm not sure how many years now, to Mayor Curtis, who's been our leader for almost 8 years now. So thank you for everything that you're doing to make this an exceptionally well-run city. I appreciate that. I've lived here for about 4 decades now, raised my family here, got involved in city government through the neighborhood program initially, and then am just finishing up my first term on the council. There's so much to learn. I feel like the learning curve is steep. A lot of departments, a lot of moving parts, but I feel like I'm getting more effective every year. And I'm interested in serving again if you and the voters, I guess I should say, because I guess not all of you actually are voters in Provo. If the voters would like me to serve again, I'm ready and excited to do that. Last thing I wanted to say is I think it's really important for the council and the mayor and the administration to be on the same team. We have different jobs, and I kind of liken it to a football game. You've got your offensive unit and your defensive unit. You each have different responsibilities, but you want to be cheering for each other. You want to have essentially the same goals for the benefit of the city and of the residents, and that's my commitment to you. So I ask for your vote and for your support.
Grateful to be with you and for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm still recovering from a really fun weekend. Great question and great answers by our mayoral candidate. Many that I wanted to jump in and give my couple thoughts on it. But I've only lived in Provo for 11 years now. But from the beginning, I've been able to interact with some amazing Provo City employees. 2 of the first ones that I can remember is Scott Bunker when he was our forester, like our current employee president is now, as well as Casey Sear, as we looked at some traffic problems at an intersection near Dixon Middle School. And from the beginning, I had really positive interactions with the employees of Provo. My brother was in Logan. He recently had an opportunity to interact with our police force, a police officer. As he flew out of Provo, his child slipped an unapproved item in his carry-on bag before he left that landed him with a face-to-face with a police officer. And without mentioning my name or anything, he reported back to me that it was an amazing experience, that this police officer went above and beyond, took care of any question of safety, but then went above and beyond with the customer service for someone who doesn't even live in Provo. And periodically, we'll see on Facebook people posting about their interactions with the Provo Police Force. And you look around the city, or around the nation, and that's not the kind of social media posts that many police departments are getting. But those are the kind of those are the kind of social media reports that we're getting here in Provo City. And I think that's indicative of the type of employee that we have across the city. Since I've been serving on the city, I've been able to interact with far more employees. I've been able to crawl into the water tanks and tour the areas of the city and get to know your jobs a little bit better and interact with so many wonderful people. And the employees really are the secret sauce. of what makes Provo City run so efficiently. And just a big thank you to all of you. We, as council members and you in the administration, we serve the same people. We do have different roles, but our goals are the same. And that's to serve the community and to offer the best quality of life for the people who live here, who work here, who study here. And because of you guys, we're doing a great job, and I'm grateful to be on the same team as you, and hopefully looking forward to another 4 years working side by side with you. So thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's give another round of applause to the candidates here. And